Hey guys, welcome back to the Fishing Doctor's Adventures. Today we have a great show. It's quite a long one. Caught a lot of fish on this day and had a good time chatting it up all alone on the riverbank. I hope you enjoy this video. We start out fishing one of the dugouts that was created this year for Coho on the twitching jig, and then we head on over to a run and doing some bobber downs with the float fishing and roll. Wild. Goodbye. I'll discuss with you how to read a river and also how to float successfully, so hopefully that helps you guys out this next season. Thanks for watching. Hooked up. That's a nice big one. Hopefully he's is he a wild? There's Hatchery. Oh. Wild. He's got a bait out of post fin. Goodbye. Just on the jig, just letting it fall slowly. Jig it a few times, let it fall. He hit it on the drop. I felt the bite and then I hit it again. They like hitting it when it falls. Let's see, there's one just swirled right there. That one was just falling. I just cast it and let it fall and boom, hit it. That was a great hit. He just smoked it. It was just falling and boom. Dynamite. Let's see. Cool. Big coho. Big coho. Let's pull the line. He's probably wild. He's big. Oh, maybe it's a hatch. No, wild. Big wild buck. Oh, look at that one. It's a beauty. But he's got that silly. He's got that silly adipose fin. That's fun. I was just casted and it was just falling to the bottom and boom, he hit it like really hard. That's how I've got like 3 of them. I've just let it fall to the bottom. Well, I've landed everything I've hooked, but I only got 1 hatchery and 3 wilds.
Oh, that's pretty good. I only got one wild fish in the river.
I think I might go try up higher because I was here yesterday with the high water and fish were just moving like crazy.
Right.
They weren't really biting that much because the it was clean enough to fish, right? But they were just moving. They weren't biting really. Yeah. Like my second cast is when I caught the hatchery.
Yeah.
Just second cast. I got them all pretty quick, early in the first hour. The first hour is when I got them. Well, I'm back on a bit of a bite here. It's like around noon. I moved spots to a run. I'm all alone on the Vedder. Look at this. All alone. And just using roe. I got this nice Chinook with sea lice on it. And I just lost another big one. I had it right by my feet and the hook finally broke. The line finally broke off. So just roe. And lots of fish coming up. You can see them splashing in the run down there. Look at that. See them coming up? Look at all that. So I gotta get out there because hopefully I can catch some coho too. There's coho and Chinook coming up like crazy. and just using roe and try to catch them. I was trying different colors and sizes of beads running through there, but no bites. And when I first got here, I had to take down on roe, but then I tried beads because nothing was happening. Since I had but one bite on the roe, I figured, okay, I'll go back to the roe and see what happens. This is a really big ball of roe. I'll probably catch a Chinook right away on it. They like these roe balls. Just open roe like that. Nice and fresh. It took me a while to get the depth, but now that I got the depth right, I think should be on to some fish, guys. Okay, let's cast it out there and see if we can't get one of those fish that is surfacing. Remember, just try different lines, and that's how you figure out where those fish are lying. And when that float goes down, set the hook. After you fight a fish, sometimes the spool's a little tight. You gotta let it won't float naturally. Let it all drift out. Get that tight line out of there off the spool, and then it'll drift much nicer. That's a good tip. After you reel in a big fish, your spool isn't turning nicely. It's because the line cuts into itself. So let all that line drift off the spool. But there's some coming up that shallows there. They're moving lots today because water's nice and high. So they keep coming up, and a lot of Chinook probably came in with that rain because that one had sea lice, so it means it hasn't been in the river for very long. Look at those fish surfacing. Remember where those fish are jumping out there, and then put that float down that line, because that's where they're coming up, and that's where they're there. Oh, what happened there? A little touch or something? Anyways, you want to put it down the same line that those fish keep surfacing. That's where you're best gonna have a chance at hooking one of them. Look at all those fish coming up. There we go, there we go. I got one way out there. Nice chrome one. Drifting right past where they were. On the roe, I shortened my lineup because I knew like I was going out to that shallow tail out. And boom, right away. I knew I was coming up on that shallow tail out a little bit too deep because it's deeper out in front of me. So I want to try to float up onto that tail out. So I just got up on that tail out there where the fish were surfacing, and boom, right away, float went down. Remember, go shorter, guys, not longer. Longer is for flossers. You want to catch fish, not floss fish. Oh yeah, this guy, if he's a Chinook, he's gonna take off. They don't like coming in shallow. It's a Coho. It's a Coho. It's a wild Coho. It's a wild Coho. Pretty sure it's a wild. Look at that. Beautiful wild fish. Keep these guys in the water, remember? Look how chrome that guy is. Just make sure he's got sea lice on him. Oh no, yeah, is he a misclip? No. He is definitely a wild. Okay. Wow, he's really spinning. Okay. There we go. Okay. Look, see this little silly fin right here? That means you can't keep him. And this is a Coho. Beautiful Coho. Yeah. There it goes. Look at that. Coho, middle of the day. Just had to find a tail out where they're coming up. Put some fresh roe out there. They weren't hitting the beads. Roe down. Yeah. Oh, it's fun. Oh man, I love that. Remember guys, shorter, not longer. And leader length. You see how short my leader is? Look at the weight. Here's my hook. That's like 18 inches. You don't need a 6-foot leader, guys. It's pretty clear conditions right now. 18, 20 inches is all you need, especially when you're floating up in shallow water like that. Because keep it all tight, not dragging on the bottom. then where the fish can actually bite it, you know? See if there's any more out there. Oh, look. See, I'm drifting right towards that one that just floated, so hopefully there's a few sitting there. The float will go down right about now. Come on, go down, go down. Go down. Oh. Oh. And splash right there, so I'm perfectly in line for that fish. Hopefully, by the time I get there, he's ready for dinner. Okay, come on, fish. 10 more feet. Natural drift. Come on, take it down. Oh, yeah, right there. Come on. Come on, come on. I'm gonna make it even shorter. Maybe out there in the tail, they want it really short. So I'm gonna make it even shorter. Get it way up above them and see if they'll eat it. Look at that. Ooh, right there. Oh, right there, right in front of us. See that? Right where I casted. I'll cast it a little bit up higher. Maybe they're sitting right in front of us. Guess a little longer was better. So we'll stretch out the float to weight, distance. You see, I'm adjusting this all the time. Shorter, longer, shorter, longer, shorter, longer, all day. I don't just set it one place and forget about it. I keep adjusting it, and I always remember like where I caught fish, how long it was, because I can always go back to the length that caught me fish. But if you never try something else, you'll never know if there's a better length than the one you're fishing. Oh, right by the float. There we go, there we go. Oh, totally missed that one. Totally missed that coho. See, I went back a little longer, and right there where that one just jumped, that's where he hit it. And that one I was fishing the row quite long. You know, I don't always change the row if it's got some few eggs and some skein on it. A lot of times they'll hit that. So, and some days they like that better than the new fresh stuff. So don't change the row too often. Sometimes that old row with a few berries left on it actually works quite well because it looks really natural. Especially in this bright light, that white skein really pops in the water. Especially when it's a little bit dirty. I don't know how I missed that one. I was sleeping. Okay, let's see if he bites again. There. So, fresh roll. Camera's rolling, fresh roll. Put it right through the same place. See where the fish is? Oh, I just had a touch. You put it right through the same place where you had the bite. And that's the key to getting another bite. Like if you didn't touch the fish, remember, always put it back right through there. You can see when it gets to the end of the drip, the float starts to tip on its side. That means it's hitting the bottom, and that's when I pull it in. If you want to fish that section, then you're gonna have to like shorten it up a bit. Look at these guys right out here in front of me. There we go. Oh! I think there's a rock out there somewhere. Might be right there. Oh, it must be a rock. Because I keep hitting it. 83rd time's a charm. Oh, there's a fish there. That's where I was getting the bite, so could have been fish. Oh, there's more coming up. Get it out there. Get it out there. Oh, look at that beauty. Oh, there we go. I looked away and the fish was, I looked back and the float was gone. Oh yeah. That's another big Chinook or something. Or a big coho. It's really shiny. Oh. I seriously looked upriver because a fish splashed. So I don't know if you'll see it on the camera, like how long that float was down. I looked back and it was gone, so I just set the hook immediately. The last one was fighting funny, so I'll just keep this one down because maybe it's a coho too. I don't want him to jump over and then he's pulling funny. It's pretty shiny, whatever it is. Could be a coho. Might be a spring. He's coming in. Oh boy, looks like a coho. Oh boy, what is he doing? Where is he going? He's trying to flip me off here. Coho? Chinook. Just a shiny Chinook. We'll bring him up here. He's so shiny. Oh, yeah, it's a Chinook. Pretty sure it's a Chinook. Black mouth. There you go. Nice Chinook. So chrome. I'll keep that one. That's a beauty. Look how chrome that one is. Man, I'm chrome today. Look at that shiny thing. Wow. Guess I'm keeping Chinooks today. They're so pretty. Oh, look at this. Look at this. I'm gonna show you why flossers suck. Okay? Right here is why flossers suck. Okay? Look at this. Look at this hook. Okay? Here's some wool. Look at this hook. Okay? Here's a. Look at this tear. Okay? This hook and wool was just in this fish. Look at that. See that little hook right there and wool? Look at the tear it did. Look at that. It was in there, tore right through there until it broke the line. This poor fish has a big gash in it because these guys, now I'm gonna kill it anyways, but these guys are, you know, purposely snagging these fish. I can't believe people even do this. Like, there's no sport to it. There's no satisfaction. Sure, you take fish home, but man, look, you can actually catch these beautiful fish. Let's dispatch them. Man, this thing just came in from the ocean. So shiny. First I thought it was a coho splash in there. That's how you know it's a Chinook. You see the black gums, sharp teeth, black tongue, black gums. Sure, they got some coho actually have spots like this, but and see how this Chinook actually, it only has spots on the top, which sometimes the coho looks like that. Usually Chinook have more spots all over the tail, but see how you got these few spots down here? Coho don't have that. On the other side, check the other side, few spots here. Yeah, usually when the tail is still shiny on the Chinook, they're really fresh because their tail kind of gets opaque when they come in the freshwater, but it's still shiny like that. It's really fresh. Oh, and look at this. Those are freshness stamps right there. Sea lice. These guys just came in with the rain yesterday, probably. Bleed them. Bleed your fish. Look at that. Two beautiful Chinook right there. So chrome. Oh man. Okay, let's get back to fishing. Get some more roe on that hook. Get some more bobber downs. Bobber down life. Remember, go short or go home. Send those flossers home, man. You can actually catch fish. Look at this. Middle of the day. Got a beautiful run here to myself. Oh man, it's just great. This is a midday roe bite. It's awesome. So good, man. Slaying. Absolutely slaying. Oh, I gotta write that adult. Remember to write the adult Chinooks on your license before you toss your line in. If a fish cop comes while you're setting up and you fish again, you could get a ticket. I often forget. Every Chinook over 62 centimeters, that's the Vedder adult size, must be recorded in ink on your license immediately, okay? So always carry your license. I put it in a little Ziploc bag. It's always raining out here, with a pen so that you can write on your license how many Chinook you've caught. Okay, you write the river, Vedder River Region 2. 24, it's the 10th of October, a Thursday. Beauty. So that's limit out adult Chinook. You can keep 2 jacks, or you can keep 4 jacks, I believe, because the limit's 4 Chinook. So now I can't keep any more adults. I got 1 Coho in the cooler. So I can keep 1 more Coho or a jack Chinook. I figured since I already had 1 Coho, I should keep them company. In the cooler, my brother said the fish looked lonely, so I had to keep something else. They're still out there, they've been surfacing. So I'll just try a lane again, and then watch where the fish are surfacing, and keep putting it through those lanes. You know the drill. Keep that line mended. This is braided line, so I just let it float. I'm usually a short rod. This is an 8'6" rod, and it actually has a couple inches broke off it. A lot of guys use like 10'6", 11, 12-foot rods, but I find they're heavier and not really needed. You see, I handled those Chinook just fine with this 8'6" minus 2 inches rod. And this is just a Berkeley lightning rod. I love it. It's so nice, so light, so sensitive. It's great for Coho. Works for Chinook, and yeah, it's a lot of fun to use. It's just super light and super reasonable price on them too. Like $74 a rod, I think. Can't beat it. This is like, feel everything. Trust me, man. Go to the store, check out one of these Berkeley lightning rods. I'm not I don't get sponsored by Pure Fishing or anything, but I'm just telling you, don't buy them all though, because I like them. I want some on the shelf in case I break one. Just kidding, you can go get them. GoPro stop video. There we go. There we go. Good. Oh, he came off. That's okay. That was another Chinook. That was a good bobber down. Oh, that was probably him jumping. See, once you get the depth right and the line right, you just keep it on repeat and you keep doing it over and over. I was lucky. I said GoPro, turn off, and it kept going. Otherwise, I would have missed the action. Okay, watch this. I don't know if you can see the float. It's so bright. Hopefully you can see the float, because it's pretty cool going down. These Chinook bury that float so hard. They eat that roll and hold on to it a lot better than the Coho do. When you're fishing, cast it far enough upstream above the fish so that you actually get a decent drift into them, so your bait gets down there and you're in the zone by the time you get to the fish, right? Don't cast right on top of them. Otherwise your bait will be still settling down and things won't look right. Pull it. I usually you overcast, and then you can always pull it into your line. So that's what I do. If you're having trouble nailing your line, just overcast the line and pull it into your line so it's going down where you want it to. Looks like some more fish moved up. I'm seeing them splash. That's what's great about high water days. Fish just move all day long. And especially after a big rain, when the water clears up and the water level is falling, they'll keep just swimming up all day until the water level drops to a level where it's getting hard, and then they'll just settle down and sit. But the fish can be caught when they're traveling as well, because they'll come up rapids and then they'll slow down a bit and that's when you can catch them in these tailouts. So guys wanted to know how to read the water, and it's kind of a skill you have to learn. When I first started fishing rivers, I had never really fished rivers before, so it was kind of confusing how to actually read the rivers. But it's not very hard, and I can teach you pretty quickly. If you just hang on here a second, I'll describe to you how I read the river. So it's basically done by looking at the surface of the water, what's going on with the water, and you look on a clear day, you look at the clarity of the water. If you can see the bottom, you know how deep it is. You can see what's on the bottom, if there's big rocks, small rocks, gravel, sand. And then also, you can also see the light quality or penetration of light through the water. The deeper it is, the darker the water gets. So that helps you estimate what's, you know, on the bottom, how deep it is if you can see the bottom, and the darker it gets, the deeper it is, okay? Now, the flow speed is pretty easy to determine. The smoother the water gets and the slower the surface looks like it's moving, the slower it's going. And you can pretty much cast your float in, and how fast your float goes will tell you the speed of the water. Usually the faster the water goes, the more riffly it'll get. So on the inside of a corner like this, you see this is the corner goes like this. The outside of the corner is where the fast water goes, and it's usually riffly because the water's going faster out there. And the inside is the shallower side on this side, but the calmer, slower water, okay? Now fish can choose to go up anywhere across this river, but they usually prefer certain areas depending like on the day, water conditions, and how fast the water's going. Whether it's first light or middle of the day, they'll select different kinds of areas. Oh, I missed that bite. Talking too much. Anyways, usually first thing in the morning, they'll be sitting in this slower water along the inside edge. And see, there was one right there. Coho just came up right there, like 10 feet out. And that is where the coho like to come up that nice, slow, calm lane. The Chinook usually like the deeper, slow lane just on the inside of the fast water. And sometimes they'll shoot up straight up the fast water. So coho prefer tailouts, these shallow tailouts, and these slower inside corners where the water's shallower and where it's slower. So you can see across this run, the far side is the fast side. It has lots of white water riffles. That's the fast water. I don't usually fish right in there. Usually salmon, you fish the inside. And when guys say the inside of the seam, I got one right there. Coho. Yeah, look at that. I was talking and I put it through that shallow water, and coho. Let's see if it's a hatchery. I think it's a hatchery. Yeah, I don't see a fin. Yeah, it's a hatchery. Sweet. Good. Sweet. Hatchery right there in that shallow lane, like I was telling you, where the coho like to travel, because that's where they're going. And that's where they love to travel. That shallow, slower line. And I wasn't floating there recently. I was going deeper because all the fish were splashing out deeper. But this guy, he just splashed in shallow. So I figured, oh, let's go in shallow and give it a try. And guess what? He was there. And let's get back. I'll fish a little bit more and explain the rest of working a run to you and how to read the water. But there you go. 2 nice Chinook and a coho. Hatchery, remember, it's got the fin clipped off. Wilds have this big adipose fin, but Chinook, they do not have to have the adipose clip because they don't clip them all in the hatchery. So these are what we call unclipped hatchery fish likely. Some of the Chinook are clipped, but they don't have to be in order to keep them, okay? Look at that. That's dedication right there. This guy brings his girlfriend and she rides him. Okay, so like I was saying, how to read the water. That's how to tell fast or shallow. I mean, fast or slow. You just look at the surface. And then sometimes if you want to know what's under the water, you look on the shore. So you see over there, there's big rocks. So that means there's like probably big rocks on the bottom. And fish actually like that. They'll slow down in areas where there's big rocks because it provides more current break for them. So they get right down there on the bottom, lay behind those rocks, and they'll sit there for a while. So if you float short above the rocks, the fish will actually come up and grab your roe. You don't want your roe dragging through those rocks. You want it like 6 to 12 inches, sometimes a foot or two above those rocks, and that's where you're gonna get those bites the best, okay? So don't drag the bottom. If your float is tapping the bottom with the big rocks like that, you're too low. Pull your float up a foot, and then you're gonna catch the fish, okay? Let's see, what else? Yeah, faster water, riffles, eddies. Okay, so eddies are where there's like a current break and the water actually goes back upstream, so the current is reversed in a back eddy. Coho love to sit in those and rest, so if you ever find one of those, that's great water for fishing flies, for fishing jigs, for fishing spoons and spinners. Fish love sitting in that kind of water, and it's great for lure presentation. Not so good for float fishing. You usually like a little bit of motion, at least walking speed water, for float fishing to be most successful. Now you can catch fish on a float. I've caught them in dead still water, just hanging row. They will bite it, but it's not optimal, okay? Let's see. I think depth, maybe that's what guys mean is hard for them to read water, is getting the depth right. But I'm telling you, it's just a guesstimate. You know, if it's dark water, it's usually like 2 to 5 feet deep. So I usually start like 2 feet, and then I just cast it out there and see if I touch bottom. If I don't touch bottom, don't get any bites, I pull it out another foot, and I keep pulling it out a foot at a time until I'm actually on the bottom, and then I know I'm in the zone. I shorten it up a foot, and then I'm fishing at the right depth, and that's how you get the depth. You can't really read the depth perfectly. You have to test and trial and error to get the depth right, okay? Okay, reading water. Now, I think one of the hardest things when I was starting, because you'll see guys out here fishing all over, fishing bad water, fishing water that doesn't even hold the fish, water that's too shallow, water that's too fast. You have to understand that most of the people out here seriously don't know what they're doing, and most of them are just like snagging fish. They're either purposely flossing in like water that's too shallow and too fast, where the fish just shoot up, and that's what they're doing. So if you're watching those guys, then it makes it really hard to figure out, where do I fish? Because you actually see these guys catching fish, but they're not actually catching them by making the fish bite. They're, you know, intercepting those fish by flossing a line through their mouth. That's not fishing, in my opinion, and it's not something that you can actually try to, you know, do the right thing and actually encourage a fish to bite. It's just, you know, it's phony fishing, okay? So if you watch those guys, it misleads you, making you think, oh, that's where I need to fish, but it's not. You gotta fish the water where you can present the fish, the bait or the bead or the lure, the best to them, okay? And that's not in water that's 2 inches deep and going 20 miles an hour down a chute, okay? So don't fish, you wanna fish the runs in between those fast zones, okay? So rivers are naturally broken into these fast zones where it narrows and the level drops. Like up there, you see it shoot down, it gets really riffly, and then there'll be a section with deeper water that's shallower. I mean, I'm not shallower, a little bit deeper and slower water, and then it'll drop off again down through a chute. So there's these sections where it goes from fast, narrow water to deeper, slower channels. If you're actually fishing and you actually want to fish and you actually want to get fish to bite, you have to fish these zones in between those fast sections. If guys are telling you they're catching their limit in those fast sections and, oh yeah, they're biting like crazy, don't listen to them, okay? They're flossing. If you actually want to catch fish, fish the slower, deeper water that's actually holding water, and the fish will bite, okay? They'll actually bite. Oh, there you go. He bit twice. But leave some room for me. Don't everyone come and crowd out the good spots now, just because I told you where to fish. Yeah, so there's other types of water that you can fish also. Like in amongst those fast zones in the upper river, there's areas where there's really big rocks. Like these rocks are the size of cars. And oh, there we go. Oh, and what will happen is the fish can actually sit behind those rocks and chill out for a bit. The water's slower. So you can actually float or cast lures in behind those big rocks and catch those fish, you know, taking a chill while they're making it up the rapids. So those are areas that you can fish, but it's always, you're looking for those just little areas where the water is just a little bit slower than everything else and a little bit deeper and a little bit bigger rocks, right? So if you can find water like that, you're gonna find fish potentially holding there. Now, when you're looking for water that's good, it's not always gonna have fish. You're just looking for water that could have fish. Hey. Seagulls. So once you find water that could have fish, then you get fish in it, okay? So you get out there, you get your lure going, you find the depth, you put it through all the lanes, and then you watch the surface. That's another key to reading water. You gotta watch the surface of the water. You're watching for any kind of movements, swirls, fish fins, flicks, tail flicks, rolls, whatever. We call them all kinds of stuff. And if you're seeing that, then you know that there's a chance there's fish in there. If you're not seeing anything and you're not getting any bites, chances are that area you're fishing is not holding fish right then, and it's not worth fishing that zone for too long. You know, pack up, go to another section of the river. There is a possibility that fish might move in throughout the day if it's really good water, but you might not want to wait because that could take quite a while, and who knows how long it's going to take. The day goes by relatively quickly out here, especially during the prime times like in the morning and evening. So find good water. Fish it hard and quick, right? Fish the depths, fish all the depths, fish all the lanes across. If there's nothing moving on the surface, you haven't got a bite, just move on, okay? That's a key to reading water as well. You can find water that looks fishy, but it doesn't necessarily have fish in it, okay? That's a key to remember. And once you find fish, the guide secret is don't leave fish to find fish. So if you're not catching them, but you're seeing lots of splashing, like in this run, I just stayed here until I figured out how to get them to bite. I was running, you know, 5 different colors of beads in different sizes through there at all different depths. And then I put the roll on, and then I kept adjusting the float depth, kept adjusting until I start getting bites, because I know the fish are there. I know that you can catch them, okay? That is the determination you need to actually catch salmon, okay? It's a lot of slight adjustments of different variables, and once you got it right, it shows. Oh, there you go. Oh man, must be a bunch of coho in there. They keep hitting right there. Yeah, a bunch of little variables, and once you got it going, you know, then it works. It's fun, but it can be really frustrating. I admit, man, I was super frustrated when I started, because I'm watching all these guys hauling in fish one after another, you know, fishing these rapids and just flossing. And it's hard as a new guy because you don't really understand, like, what are they actually doing? And in my mind as a fisherman, I thought, like, how on earth are they getting fish to bite in that shallow, rapid flowing water that's so riffly? It's like white water, like a fish can't even see it. And to a fisherman like me who grew up on the prairies, usually fish perch, walleye, like these fish, and pike, these fish are highly visual and they respond to, you know, reaction baits really well. I was like, how on earth are these salmon like finding these things and biting them? Well, they're not. They're just getting snagged, okay? So don't glorify flossing, even if their guys are walking out with their limit in 10 minutes. It's not amazing, because it's way more fun getting them to bite in a true bobber down, letting it naturally float. You don't need to swing the bobber across the run or, you know, put tension on it or do anything. Just let it float naturally, and when that float disappears, it's either a snag or it's a fish. And usually you can tell the difference between a snag and a fish, because a snag goes down slowly and a fish usually just like poof, drops that float really fast, okay? There we go. There we go. Oh, another Chinook. Look at the big head shakes on him. Make sure your tension's loose so you can fight them. And then they usually do those big head shakes initially when you hook them. And so you want to, yeah, make sure your drag is like such that the line pulls out pretty easy, but you can still crank them in. Then you can control the fish, but you want your drag to be able, you know, pull out quite easily. And you don't need to pump the rod really. Just, I keep the rod always just straight down. I don't pump. I know some guys just really pump on them, and I feel like you're putting pressure on that hook And every time you do that, you're like, chances are that you loosen off that hook pressure and it'll just fall out because it's barbless, okay? So you just keep that rod tension nice like that. And man, he's pulling good. Look at that. Beautiful fish. And so this is why you should wear waders when you're river fishing, because you can step in the water like this and you can handle these fish really nicely. You don't need to net them even, Chinook. They'll tire out, and then usually you can just tail them pretty easily. Beautiful shiny fish. They're such chrome. It's like October 10th and the whole bunch came in from Sandheads yesterday. And see how they just like, they'll chill out and you can just tail them. I think guys are worried in one of my videos about them going on the rocks like that with their belly. That doesn't hurt them at all. They go up the rocks all the time like that over shallow rapids with their back showing. It doesn't hurt them. It's when their head, when they lay on their side and then they start flipping and smashing their head on the rocks, that's what you don't want. See, okay, I'm in water that's just deep enough for his belly to touch. I'm just gonna grab his tail. See, like that? Grab his tail and I can just pop the hook out really easily. And you see when you're not flossing on, the hook is inside the mouth like that, okay? Now, I'm gonna get him in the sunshine. Put my rod over there so you can see this beautiful fish. And you can just let him rest a little bit. And that's how you handle a beautiful fish, so you can keep this going on for a while and keep the fisheries open. And when he's ready to go, you just point his head up the river and there he goes. Oh man, I love that. A little shout out to these Vedder hooks, barbless Vedder hook. I'm using them. They hook great. They maintain their point pretty good. They sharpen well. I've sharpened them, and man, they keep the fish on the line pretty good. I'm having a great hooking percentage and pretty low loss ratio this year using them, so I'm satisfied, man. They have a nice hook gap. They have a nice bend to them, and that's what I like in a hook. It's all hooking mechanics, right? Like, I look at everything and think about every part of fishing. That's what's going to give me the best chance of hooking these fish, keeping them on the line, you know, hook shape, hook gap, hook size, everything. I look at all of these things because some days on the river out here, you don't get many bites. So you really got to capitalize on the opportunities that are given to you. Because if you don't get very many bites, you know, if you only get a few bites and you're not ready for them and you got crappy gear and you got a dull hook, why are you even fishing? Like, set yourself up, spend the time, do the research, get decent equipment, decent hooks, get some fluorocarbon 12-pound Seeger. Then at least you're talking. Then you're putting yourself in the running that once you get a bite, you can actually hook that fish. Because if you don't have decent gear, like, you might get bites, but your chance of hooking up goes way down. If your hook's dull, if you got the wrong hook, you know, you got the wrong leader. So I'm gonna put a list of stuff together that I think you need in the description for this video. Check that out. I don't want to sound like a know-it-all because I'm still think of myself always as a newbie, never an expert, because I always want to learn more. I'm still out here trying to learn from guys who've been doing it longer than me. Okay, so I have never reached the point where I ever think I'm good enough or master it, because there's always a day that someone else is out fishing me, okay? So in every situation, doesn't matter what level you're at, you're always a learner and you're always a teacher, okay? That is how it works in the medical field. You're always a learner and you're always a teacher. And if you do both of those, you help someone who knows less than you and you learn something from someone who knows more than you, that's the best setup for success, okay? Have fun. Keep a smile on. Enjoy the sunshine. Because we don't know how many days we got, right? Don't spend your day being unhappy and miserable, right? If someone else is catching the fish, be happy for them. Maybe karma will come your way. I think one of the most important skills for float fishing is actually mending line. Using mono or braided line is a bit different because braided line floats and it doesn't, you know, it's hard to keep as taut, like, because it gets wet, so it's pretty heavy. So usually when you use mono, it seems to be lighter and you can keep like a pretty direct connection to the float like this, you know, with the line up from the tip of the rod to the float, and you just keep that tight. But with braid, I kind of lay it down on the water, and then how I mend is I just lift it off the water and flip it upriver, and then so I keep that line straight. Now mono has stretch, braid has no stretch, so you can get away with a little bit of slack in braided line because you're going to gain it back in no stretch. Mono, you got to be right on that float, otherwise any slack and with the stretch you're not going to get a hook set. Okay, so that's why mending line is so important, not just so that you float with a natural drift, but also because when the float goes down, you're connected directly to that float and not going to waste any time getting that hook into that lip. Okay, that's why mending line is so important. So in the float fishing, you cast a little bit upstream, so sometimes you reel down when the float is coming towards you, and then once it passes you, you hit the the reel switch, and you let the line pay out. Okay, and I keep my thumb just so the line only goes off at the speed that the float's traveling, not faster, not slower, so it goes out naturally so you don't get a bird's nest. And then you always be ready. As soon as you get a bite, I just clamp my thumb down like that and set the hook. I don't crank the reel right away. I'm usually just holding it with one hand, but as soon as that fish bites, I just put my thumb down tight like that and set the hook, and then I crank. I gotta go pee, so I'll take a break right now. Get back to fishing in a minute. So I always use my rod. I just put my float at the top, and then I see where my thing is, so I'm in between the bottom two eyelets on my rod. So if I want to reset it to that depth after I adjust it, then I can. So I'm gonna make it a little shorter, like 6 inches shorter, and give that a try, and we'll see if it works. Because today the water is dropping because we had rain the other night, so the water is dropping, and sometimes adjusting your float will help because the water actually went down and you might be drifting too deep. During the morning it might have worked when the water was higher, but if the water drops like 6 inches or sometimes more, like sometimes it drops really fast, then you could be fishing not the same depth you thought you were earlier in the morning when you were catching all the fish, and that could be why. That's why don't just fix it and leave it. You gotta adjust that float depth during the day. Wear sunglasses. Like when you fish and it's a bright sunny day like this, it's really hard to look at the shiny water all day. It's hard on your eyes, so wear sunglasses and you'll be able to see that float a lot better. Especially when it's passing like through that sun sparkle. It's really hard to see if you don't have sunglasses on. Even with sunglasses on, that sun whiteout zone can be hard to see, and some days it seems like all the bites go down right there. Once I think I have 1 or 2 more pieces of roe in this bottle. Yeah, when I'm done this row, I'm gonna go. Oh, 2 pieces left. Let's make it 3. That's kind of a big one. I got lots of roe, but you gotta call it quits at some point, right? Ooh, look at that coho right there. Running. Oh, look at that. Oh, they're coming up. See that? All of a sudden a pot of fish come up and they're excited to get here. They start splashing around, chasing the other fish that were sitting here, telling them, get your butts up the river, make room for us. We need to rest now. And that's probably basically exactly what they do. Okay, the shorter float is not working. Let's put it back down a little bit more how it was. And get back out there, drifting, fishing. I hope this has been like entertaining and educational for you and helps you guys catch a fish on the river. It's always fun sharing my experiences with you, and I always like to see people catch fish. If you have any questions, put it in the comments below. I'll share as much information as I can with you to help you guys catch a fish. I'll be posting more videos, and I even started a podcast where I'll talk about fishing the Vedder. All you need, like the gear, the size of hooks, the rods, line, everything. I'll put a podcast together like that, and I'll put it up later so you guys can watch that as well, okay? Thanks for joining in today. It's been fun, and God bless. Go catch a big one. Here, come here, come here, come here. Come, yeah, come, you can reel it in.